Tirumalizai Piran, Tirumalizai Alvar is so unique, lived in Dwapara Yuga. Even according to those Wikipedia sources, he lived in 4300 years BC and rendered many pasurams to Nalayara Divya Prabandham, which is equivalent to Vedas. Though he has rendered many pasurams, only two is available currently. One is Nanmugan Tiruvandadi and the other one is Thiruchandavirutham. Let us talk about Thiruchandavirutham. In Thiruchandavirutham, even in the first pasuram, he talks about the Lord, Sriman Narayanan, omnipresent, but at the same time, he also gives a great wisdom of the scientific wisdom combined with the spiritual wisdom. Punilaya Aindumai, Punadganendu Nangumai, Tinilaya Mundrumai, Sirandakal Irandumai, Menilaya Dundumai, Veri Veru Tanmayai, Ninilaya Vannam, Ninnayat, Ninaika Vallare. He hits the first six in the first pasuram itself. He says the five gunas inherent on earth and four subtle essences in water, three inherent in fire, two in the wind and one in great space. They all form part of your body. Who can understand this? The huge cosmic, the sphere, the universe is formed from the five great elements, Panchadhatus. And those five elements have five subtle essences. He explains this. It forms the material residence for the transcendental divine of Sriman Narayanan. Tirumalizai Piran in the first verse points out that Sriman Narayanan is the material cause of all of the manifest universe and is the inner controller of the five great elements, and indicates that the meaning of this cannot be understood except through Vedanta. And this itself is Vedanta. Punilaya Aindumai. The five inherent qualities of the subtle essences, the gunas of the earth. First he takes the earth. What are the five gunas of the earth? Five subtle essences of the earth. Shabdam, Sparsam, Rupam, Rasam, Gandham. Sound, touch, form, taste and smell respectively. Beautifully he explains these are all the essences of the earth, one of the five Panchadhatus. The next actually he attributes after the earth, he talks about the first Punalgan in the Nangumai. Punalgan in the Nangumai, first is the five for the earth, second is the four. This is water. Water forms from its subtle essences of taste. Since it also contains the other subtle essences of space called wind, fire, space, and all the four qualities of sound, touch, form, and taste. So second is the water, he says. It has got four essences, sound, touch, and form also, and taste. Then he talks about the three, Tinilaya Moondrumai, fire, Agni. Fire has its origin in wind, and its subtle essence in its form. For similar reason, it is described to include all the three qualities, sound, touch, and form for fire. Sound, touch, and form for fire. Next he talks about Sirandakal Irandumai, the mighty wind. He comes to the wind. It is formed from the subtle essence of touch. Since it provides for the respiration of living entities by its natural tendency of motion, it is described as mighty, Pranavayu. Since wind has its source in space, it includes the two subtle essences, qualities called touch. Yeah, we feel the wind, and sound. Wind can make a sound. Melilayadu Ondrumahi. Then finally he comes to the space. Space has its origin in sound, which is subtle essence. This is because space is the subtlest of the five elements and forms the basis for the other four physical elements, and in addition provides place for other four elements. Nirai, even Nammalvar says, Nirai, Nilanai, Tiyai, Kalai, Neduvanai in Thiruvaimozhi. Sixth Pasuram. The universe is formed of the five elements. The reason for describing the Lord, Sriman Narayana, in the same case as the five physical elements is that they form his body, Sariram, and he is their soul, Atma. The subtle essences, on the other hand, are part of the God, Sriman Narayanan. Although Mahat and of course Mahan, Ahankaram, the ego, also part of the cause, but here the Alvar explains very nicely all the five elements and their essences, and then he takes Veru Veru Tanmayai, though being the soul of different sentient entities of the living forms, differences mentioned here are in terms of forms of those elements, bodies, and also the other creations like devas, humans, the animals, the plants, Chit, Achit, Ishwar, but they are of different forms. Neelilaya Vannam, though they are of different forms, meaning the way Sriman Narayanan has inner control that pervades both the insentient and the sentient beings, his body yet remaining unaffected by their deficiencies. We may have deficiencies, we may have many deficiencies, but God will not get affected by those deficiencies. All the five elements also may have deficiencies, but God remains unaffected by these deficiencies. Karma will not, he is, even avatars, he takes it as a sankalpa. He is not born because of the karma like us. So these deficiencies, even he is inside our heart, but our deficiencies will not affect him, will not touch him. நின்னை சேதனா சேத்தனங்களோடு கூடிய உலகிற்கு உபாதான காரணமான உன்னை, இஸ் உபாதான காரணம், நிமித்த காரணம், சககாரி காரணம். He is the potter, he is the mud, and he is the tool which is there to create the pot. So only in our scientific world we say there is a potter, there is a pot, and there is a tool to make the pot. But the Alvar says சேதனா சேத்தனங்களோடு உலகுக்கு உபாதான காரணம், நிமித்த காரணம், சககாரி காரணம் is you only. But these deficiencies of these panchadhatus and these essences, like the humans and even the devas, the asuras, the plant, even the achit, will not affect him. Beautifully scientific way it is explained in a spiritual way. And finally he says Sriman Narayanan is the only Almighty, the creator, and to be worshipped. And the more we try to understand him, we will not be able to. Who can understand you? That's what finally he concludes in the first passage. It's very difficult. He says, Yar ninaika vallare, who can understand properly? That's what he says.